What is up, guys, gals, and non-binary pals? My name is Naomi. Welcome to House of Miscellania. Today I'm coming at you with a WIP and chat. WIP stands for work in progress, and I'm going to chat for about an hour, and at the end I'm going to read a tarot card, which will be our thought for the week. I've already got them shuffled up, so for right now I can move those aside. Let me go over my tools really quickly. These are ones you're probably going to be very familiar with if you watch my WIP and chats. I use them a lot, but these are all sponsors for gods and goddesses going on right now. If you are interested in joining, we still got the whole month of August left to do this. There's lots of prizes being given away, including prizes that have already been given away. But if you want to join in, please go and check out the Facebook group, link down in the description. Otherwise, there is the Discord, which a link is also in the description. Or if you want to ask questions, you can do so down in the comments. I'm happy to tell you all about it. And thank you to our lovely sponsors thus far. But I am using a pen here from Diamond Pen Pal. This one is Satora. It's gorgeous. I love it, and I use it all of the time. In my multi-placer here, I am using, oh, where did it go? Oh no, it's hiding. There it is. Tanzanite putty from Butterfly Effect Wares, also a sponsor, and then a tray here from Firefly. The Switch Mini Max. It has a removable lid, which I always remove. A removable trash tray, which again I take out just so that when I'm pouring back in, I don't dump stuff in. And there's this little hole in the top that you can put your diamond pen into so it doesn't roll away. It also has a open and close pour spout, which is awesome. And then the diamond painting, which you can see I am on. This is actually the next to last square. I still have her face. So depending on what we finish during the WIP and chat, I might be moving or doing something else. We'll see. But the painting that I am working on currently is Summer Solstice by Chrissa Bug from Diamond Art Club. She is a 69.9 by 104.8 centimeters in square. And isn't she gorgeous? I love her so much. We're right down here in the corner. Almost done with it. Like I said, I still have her facial square left to do, but anyways, you guys, how have you been? I know this is a day late, and I have a good reason. If you saw my posting about skipping the live, it is because it was Dustin's birthday on Tuesday. So I apologize for missing that, but getting a drink here. But, you know, I had to celebrate his birthday with him, you know? As far as gifts go, like, we're not big gift type people. He's very much a gestures human being, you know? That's really his love language, is in gestures. And even though, I did give him a birthday gift, which was Surreal Blues. Actually, I finished that a while back, but that was specifically for him as an early birthday gift. Now, it is not hung up yet because I still need to figure out how exactly I'm going to hang it. I'm either going to try and find a really cool frame for it, or I'm going to, I was thinking actually about building like a stretched frame for the canvas. You know what I'm saying? Like, you stretch the canvas around the frame, and in this case I would leave, like, this would be the edge, and then this part would wrap around the frame after I painted it or something, of course. But not really sure how I want to do that yet. I'm gonna talk to his dad about how I might actually accomplish that. But I did, however, finish Surreal Blues for him for before, but that wasn't all. I mean, I made dinner. He wanted spaghetti, so I made spaghetti. I enjoy spaghetti. He enjoys spaghetti, so it all worked out pretty nicely. Always good when you enjoy what you're cooking for somebody else to eat yourself. I've always kind of been a pretty particular eater. And so, having things in the repertoire that we both like to eat. I mean, I'll cook things even if I'm not going to eat them. That's not like such a huge deal, but there are certain things that it's like, ugh, even cooking, like the smell of it makes me want to gag a little bit. Never a good time. But, and then as far as really like what's been going on for the week, um, honestly, it's been a very soul searchy kind of week, month, year. I don't know. It's been a very soul searchy kind of week. I've been doing a lot of researching, which I will get into shortly, but um, a lot of soul searching as well. Well, let me segue into that in a moment, but a lot of hot weather this week, which I have a fan on. I'm not sure if you can hear it, but uh, don't have to have the AC on right now. It's like 63 Fahrenheit outside. It's nighttime because I always film at night. Um, but it's actually really kind of lovely and cool in the house right now. And I'm very excited about utilizing that for sleeping because it has been really just ouch, I keep bumping my elbow. A scorcher this week. Not really all that fun. I have never really particularly been fond of really, really hot weather. I mean, granted, yeah, I'm also the person who kind of sort of bitches when it's too cold. So, I guess I don't like extremes in temperature, I guess. There is a very nice middle ground somewhere around the 70-degree mark, 70 to 75 during the day and like 65 overnight. Sounds perfect for me. And you would think that living in Wisconsin, I would get that kind of weather more often, but really I don't. It's kind of sad. Um, Blame it on climate change if you want to, or just blame it on the fact that, it's just not been the same as it was when I was younger. The weather is not always pleasant here, and in fact, oftentimes because of humidity, oh, it's just unbearable sometimes. But, like the electric bill gets up to, $300 in the summer, and it's ridiculous. It's really ridiculous. So you do what you can do, right? Um, but enough talking about the weather. I did want to talk a little bit about, honestly, like I've been watching a lot of different things this week, and oftentimes it causes, like ponderance, I guess, a preponderance of ponderance. uh, it's just basically it's been just a lot on the mind, and I guess a little bit in life planning, trying to think of next steps and things like that. And I honestly have been kind of considering and heavily considering going back to school. And I think part of the reason that I would like to go back to school is I have a couple of like not finished degrees that I had started. And part of that is because, the first time it was like, oh man, this is really like, it was a business management degree, and I didn't think that a business management degree was going to get me anywhere past like, oh, well, I'm qualified to manage the McDonald's. I can get plenty of practical experience in management. I don't necessarily feel like you have to go to college for that. which ended up being true. I have managed a lot of places. I've been a director of things. I've been a manager of things. I've been a supervisor of things. And so, like, that was very true. I didn't need a degree for it. So I had ended up back in the day, I switched my degree and decided to go for something to do with computers. And at the time, it was web design. As I was going through my web design classes, I had started working on like the prereq sort of requirements, and one of those was like database design. And honestly, I really enjoyed it. The problem, there were like some money issues. I needed to get back to work. And I had to quit school. That was quite a while ago, right? And I absolutely loved doing coding things. I'm very apt when it comes to computers. I enjoy, software. I enjoy data, and that's all well and good. But I was talking to Dustin about it today, and the rise in AI has really kind of made some of the coding and software writing sort of things like moot. You really don't need them anymore because you can get computers to do everything for you. Like AI can do everything for you now. So that actually wasn't really in the plans after I had gone to rehab. I went to rehab, and when I got out of rehab, and for those who are newer to the channel, I talk a lot about my sobriety and my sobriety journey, things like that. So I'm not at all embarrassed to talk about it. In fact, you shouldn't be. If you're on a sobriety journey of your own, you should not be embarrassed to talk about it. Normalizing talking about it is sort of casting off any shame that's associated with it, right? Well, I felt like after I completed my stay at inpatient rehab that I felt a calling, I guess, to speaking to others about rehab and wellness and mental health and those sorts of things. And so really originally my plan when I had gotten out of rehab was trying to, as soon as humanly possible, this was, 6 years ago now, since I just hit 6 years of sobriety on the 6th of July. And I really wanted to go into some form of like AODA counseling, alcohol and other drugs counseling. I wanted to kind of give back to the like community and the area that gave me back my life. And then I went into the healthcare field, having to do with elder people, and I loved that job. I was pretty devastated to lose that job. That's kind of a whole long story for a whole other day. But I was really devastated to lose that job. And so for a long time, I was seeking employment outside of that field. Because when you work with elderly people, there is like, I am all the way, sorry, I got to shift in my chair a little, squeak sounds. I have very much gotten to the point where I wouldn't say I am desensitized, because that sounds, in my opinion, very harsh, and I don't mean it to sound harsh. I'm not desensitized to the idea of mortality, but I am very much I'm I accept the fact that death is a a cycle of life. That doesn't mean I'm not scared shitless of death, like me dying, but I do understand that, like, to be there for somebody at the end of their life is so wildly, massively important to have someone there. And so, you know, that much of the job mentally was never tough for me. What was always tough for me was, you know, well, I was the manager and the scheduler, and anytime that there was a hole in the schedule, I had to fill it if I couldn't find someone else to cover. And so I was working 80 plus hours normally every week. In fact, I figured out that in all my last year working there, when I filed my taxes, my year-to-date of overtime was like $36,000 just in overtime. And it was only, what was it, 9 months? That last year of working was only 9 months worth of working, and $36,000 in overtime. Like, I was doing too much. And so, as much as, like, leaving that job really hurt a lot because I loved the job, I was really well on my way to, like, stroke or heart attack if I hadn't left that job. And so it's a good thing, it's a bad thing, but then, you know, I wanted to try YouTube. And this is not to say that if I do decide to go back to school that the channel goes anywhere or whatever. I feel like with school that I can do both. That I can still do the channel, I can still interact and whatnot. Because I love school, I don't think that's going to be a problem. I mean, yes, it might cut into how many times I can do a live every week or whatever, but I feel like I need to, I want to do more for the world, you know? And while I do feel like there are people that I reach with the YouTube, which is why I wouldn't want the YouTube channel to go away, I feel like, because it's going to take me a while to get education in whatever it is that I choose to get education in, I want to reach more people, and I want to figure out what the hell I want to do with my life. I was talking to Dustin about that too today, and it's like, a part of me is like, okay, well, why don't you go back to school for AODA counseling, like I had talked about originally. Getting a drink, sorry. And yeah, I would still like to do that, but I kind of wonder if I would not be better suited to something more general therapy or counseling. And then I got to thinking, okay, well, I could do general therapy or counseling. What if I could specialize? And what would I want to specialize in? And so I was thinking on that. And I was thinking, like, you know, I've been doing a lot of research lately into autism and looking at my life under a microscope of autism since my diagnosis. And I don't hate that idea. I mean, I feel like even being a therapist specifically for adults with autism, or even working with kids with autism, or what have you, like, the reconciliation of being a woman with autism and a woman with substance use disorder. Like I feel like I have a lot of lived experience to share, and I have a lot of just knowledge that I've gained over time. And I've even been told by my therapist that I would make an excellent therapist. And so, like, okay, I could limit it down to just AODA counseling, or I could maybe try and find a different way. I don't know. What do you think? What do you think? What are your thoughts? I mean, obviously, in the end, I'm going to do whatever is best for me, right? But some of you have gotten to know me very, very well, or even not as well, but, you know, you've listened to my WIP and chats or what have you. What do you think? And so I think that's part of why, like, I've shuffled the tarot cards. I'm really excited to see what the card says, because, you know, it's been on my mind today. And then a lot of this week, as I was saying earlier, one, I've been doing a lot of research. I've been looking into a lot of things. And two, I've kind of been going back over my life and some of my childhood experiences, and kind of re-examining those experiences through the lens of understanding autism. And I think the thing that really struck me, right, is, okay, so I am a diamond painter, right? And it's something that I feel hyper interested in. Autism can be like that. And I think that after having done a large amount of kind of soul searching, researching, what have you, I actually discovered, and one channel in particular that I've been watching on YouTube and highly, highly, highly recommend it. It's called I'm Autistic, Now What? It's this young lady, she was diagnosed late with autism, and she touches on a lot of topics. Some of the things that she touches on, like, are very, like, I think I talked about her a couple of weeks ago, maybe. Some of her titles are really clickbaity, and okay, I'm gonna have to rearrange because I need to move to my next square, because haha, look at that, I'm done. Pause one moment. Ooh, look at us, we're back. Okay, now I was talking about I'm Autistic, Now What? Some of her titles, as I was gonna say, are a little bit clickbaity, and some of it can be really agitating. I don't like it when people ask or put things in titles that, like, are meant to make you think that the content is going to be one thing and it's something else entirely. In fact, the first video that I ever watched of hers, I almost completely, like, blew off watching it all because of the clickbaity title. I thought it was going to be something else, and then when I watched, it was actually very well researched and incredibly thought out, and you can tell she puts a lot of thought into her actual content and what she's doing. And so highly recommend, if you are a woman with autism or you want to learn more about autism, definitely check out her channel. Like I said, it's called I'm Autistic, Now What? Really, really good stuff. But I've been watching a lot of her channel, and I feel like I've been kind of doing a self deep dive on my childhood and actually like sort of figuring out what my childhood actually may have been like if I would have gotten an autism diagnosis, like what maybe would have been different, or some of the experiences, because I feel like, especially for girls, women, that a lot of times some of the things that, like ways I may have been presenting, I kept under wraps or to myself because it was thought of as being like over emotional, or it was just me being a brat, right? And I would get punished for doing certain things because it was me looking for attention, when really it wasn't. It was me probably self-soothing or having an autistic meltdown, and I didn't really know what that was. And so I've been, kind of looking at some of my childhood experiences and sort of figuring those out. I mean, sensory issues have always been a thing for me, especially where it came to like fabrics, right? So, for instance, there are certain fabrics that I really have a comforting feeling with, like a comfort object. I always have many comfort objects. Stuffed animals were a big thing for me. In fact, they're big things for my kids too. My oldest has an entire collection of like Squishmallows, and she is in her 20s. I don't find anything wrong with that. But I also had a enormous collection of stuffed animals. I could not handle the touch of like cotton balls, the squeaking in between my foot. Like it makes me nauseous even to think about now. There were a lot of things that were really overwhelming, like when my younger sibling was born and they would cry, and that would send me almost into panic instantly. And even now, as an adult person, I cannot handle the sound of babies crying. Like, I need to go to them and help them. It's upsetting. I hate it. Like, if I'm out in public and, somebody's kiddo is having a meltdown, I'm like one of the first people to just randomly go up to that baby and like try and make the baby laugh or try and make the baby smile or what have you. Like, it puts me into such an anxious place. I remember certain smells even could be too loud. I really, really distinctly remember, like when my mom would cook, I could not handle the scent of, like, at the time, cooked onion, the smell of cooking onion, and even the smell of bleach. In fact, I feel like dishes don't get clean if I don't put bleach in them. So, like, now it's not a problem, but I remember really distinctly, like, my mom's hands always smelling like bleach because she would wash the dishes in bleach water. And then as I got older, that smell was almost comforting, like the smell of chlorine in a pool. Oh my gosh, I remember I couldn't go into lakes or lake water because the feel of the silt, silt is like muddy, kind of silky dirt. It's really gross. That, like, touching in between my toes would be just I guess a comparable sensation that I could compare it to would be like stepping in warm dog crap. Not pleasant. Or things touching my legs or my feet or my body underwater and I couldn't see what it was. So even like the smell of lake water would really freak me out. In fact, I'm kind of phobic of large bodies of water. I do not care for them. I will swim in a pool. I can see the bottom. But swimming in large bodies of water, nah, I don't know what's in there. No, thank you. And then, like, thinking on any sensory overloads that may have led to, like, meltdown or shutdown. I was talking about experiences in someone, I can't remember who, had mentioned that, you know, like, mentioned the other levels of fight or flight. And there are two others that are mentioned that don't always get brought up. And that's fight or flight, the normal two, and then freeze or fawn. And I didn't realize that when it comes to freezing and fawning, that those are, well, fawning specifically is actually a masking mechanism for women with autism. And I will often go out of my way to apologize for things that I think I must have done wrong, or I will do whatever I can to make a really, like, awkward or uncomfortable situation better by apologizing or taking blame or whatever. And I had no freaking idea. And so I don't know that I ever viewed, like, the freeze instinct, like, shut down, like full shutdown. I never really thought of that in terms of autism before. I always thought of it in terms of like just an anxiety disorder. And that's what's crazy is, like, all of this time I was convinced that I had OCD and or, you know, like, generalized anxiety disorder. Never really dealt with depression. And it's so weird too, because anytime that I would receive a diagnosis for anything like OCD or generalized anxiety disorder, I go, but, like, that doesn't seem like it doesn't seem right. It doesn't seem like it's enough. Like, something's missing. And I think that's probably why I always felt like therapy was such a load of bullshit. Was, one, because I saw the way that my mother would work over a therapist, because my mother had borderline personality disorder, and or my mom was also autistic, because people who are diagnosed with borderline personality disorder are oftentimes especially women, are misdiagnosed, and it's actually autism. And so, like, I'm looking at those things too, because my mother was, like, an excellent manipulator, or what I thought was a manipulator, and what it really might have been was masking. I don't know. It's so crazy. It's like, I don't want to be one of those people who's like, you know, oh, I'm autistic, so now I've got to just obsess about being autistic. But, like, it throws an entire childhood or life into a completely different, it's like living your whole life in blue lighting, right? Like, the world is blue, everything is blue around you, and then somebody flips on a regular light switch and you're looking around at all of these different colors and shapes, and everything, you can see everything clearer and brighter. And so while, you know, sure, somebody could say that the way that I've been looking into and researching autism is, you know, much the same way that an autistic person might fixate on something. I don't think it's that. I think it's just, like, really wanting to understand and know a little bit better what my diagnosis means. And I feel like it's important, no matter what kind of a mental health diagnosis that you receive, that you should know about what you're being diagnosed with, right? And I think back on, like, social interactions that I had, and I remember that I tried very hard to put a lot of effort into, like, the way that I dressed or did my makeup or what have you, like at first, oh my gosh, I used to try so freaking hard to fit in with everybody else and dress the way everyone else was dressing, and it just felt so wrong. I always felt like in social interactions, and I still do to a very large extent, like everybody hates me. I don't get invited to parties, and it's probably because everybody hates me. I don't have a lot of friends, and it's because everybody hates me. And I could never figure out why, like I for the longest time I thought, okay, well maybe it's because I am wearing like Goodwill clothes. And so I would put a lot of effort into trying not to wear anything that appeared used, or I tried to pay more attention to the label on what I was wearing, and still people would treat me differently. I found out that there's actually an instinct in people who have, like, who are allistic or neurotypical. A person who's not autistic is an allistic person. That there's actually an innate sense with a person who is neurotypical that they actually can tell that a person is off, right? They get this sense like something's weird. Something's weird about a person, the same way that a person might get a sense for someone else who is, I don't know, just like you snap judge, right? And if a person isn't maintaining great eye contact, or socially they're very strange, like you might look at them and go, something's off with them. And I think that's what I was experiencing the whole time. But here I was thinking like it was the way I was dressing. It was the way my hair looked. And probably these people that I was socially interacting with just sensed that something was different about me. And like, okay, why is this girl going on and on and on and on and on about X special interest, right? Like I mentioned before that I used to know all of the presidents' names in order and all of their birthdays. I couldn't tell you what they are now. I don't remember anymore, but like I really went out of my way to appear intelligent or sound intelligent, and I was also just very interested in a lot of things. And so, these people are probably looking at me like, why is this girl going on about the anatomy of horses like nobody cares? And then, I would think like, oh my God, they're making a face at me like they hate me. What's wrong with me? Am I, whatever. So I wish I had known. I think I might have felt less alone. And even now, I still battle with feeling alone, because for the longest time, I thought I was the only person who felt this way. And then, I always looked at, and probably much like a lot of other people, look at autism in a specific light. Like, okay, for one, there is a picture I feel like that everyone gets in their mind when speaking about autism, and it is certainly not the way that I look or the way that I act, right? That's why people will say things like, well, you don't look autistic. Well, it's not a look that people have. It's not like something like, forgive me, but Down syndrome, where a person has a specific appearance. It's a mental thing. Like it is your brain. It's your brain's development. It's your cognitive ability. Like it's different. It's different. And so because I managed to figure life out on my own, and I was not of like higher support needs, then of course it wasn't something that I even considered, because again, autism looked a certain way to me and to probably you as well, that it wasn't something I had even considered as a possibility. And so it's pretty crazy. And like diamond painting, the way that I latched on to diamond painting, I think is one of those, I can lose hours diamond painting, and it thoroughly, one, I love it, And it is, I feel like sometimes my passion for it can be dismissed as like another addiction, right? And my special interest in learning all the different ways that people diamond paint, and all of the different companies, and all of the different, you know, ways that people work on their diamond paintings, and what people are working on, and all of these things. Like, I feel like in the past I have maybe been treated like diamond painting is just a fixation, like it's just another thing to fixate on and whatever. But I think it's more than that. And I did some research, okay, and I found out something that I feel like really fits in with regard to just the going beyond the fixation on something and into something more. And it was actually thanks to I'm Autistic Now What that I learned about this particular word, and then decided to kind of look into it. And it's called monotropism, or tropism. Now, if that word gives you pause, then that's good, because you're not alone, right? It's not really a mainstream buzzword yet, but it kind of should be, especially if you're like me and you care about neurodiversity. Sorry, looking to see if I'm missing any diamonds here. I'm like, what color am I doing? I think the reason that the word monotropism, tropism caught my attention is because it was brought up in like a sense of like fixation. And I am very interested in figuring out fixations and kind of comparing them to addiction or what have you. And actually, that's a whole other thing about how people who are neurodiverse become substance abusers very easily. But that's not the topic for right this second, like I said. Let me get a drink. Okay, now I've got some notes here because I wanted to make sure that I knew what in the heck I was talking about, okay? But monotropism is a theory of autism. It was developed by autistic researchers Dinah Murray, Wen Lawson, and Mike Lesser. Okay, and the idea is, when your diamonds don't stay on your pen. No. The idea is that all brains have what we might call attention tunnels, okay? Neurotypical people tend to be polytropic, meaning that they can spread their attention across, you know, multiple areas, like even if it's not super deep, right? And autistic people are often monotropic, meaning we have fewer tunnels, but we go really deep, like laser focus deep into things. Imagine that your brain is like a web browser of some kind. A polytropic brain can have like 20 tabs open at one time, flipping back and forth, keeping a rough sense of what's going on in each one. But a monotropic brain might have just a few tabs open, but those tabs are in full screen. And maybe the other tabs aren't even visible unless you close the one that you're on at the moment. Okay, so that's kind of monotropism. It's not about being obsessed. It's about how attention is naturally allocated. So, like a real life other application would be like diamond painting, right? Let's say a person is engrossed in a diamond painting, and not just like into a diamond painting, like they're immersed in a diamond painting. They read about them, they dream about them, they draw them, or come up with, I don't know, cross stitch conversions that they want to work on, or they obsess over art that they'd like to see as diamond paintings. They, I don't know, start a YouTube channel for it. They spend hours and hours and hours and hours and hours on researching about it or just working on it, whatever, right? Talking about it constantly, all of those things. And when they're in that mode, that diamond painting mode, it's hard to switch out of it. So, say to suddenly talk about math or, join in a group discussion on penguins instead of diamond painting. It's not resistance or stubbornness to not want to do that. It's a monotropic attention tunnel. So let's say that, you're in the middle of diamond painting, like I'm in the middle of diamond painting, and somebody says, okay, like it's dinner time, come and eat. And it feels like jarring to me, even painful sometimes, to be yanked out of that tunnel. That's not defiance, it's not addiction, it's not fixation, right? It's a shift in attention that requires a massive amount of cognitive energy. And it can also explain why transitions are really hard, why routines are really comforting, and why sometimes like we can get hyper focused to the point of forgetting to eat or sleep, and why multitasking in certain ways can feel really highly uncomfortable. And that's not to say that monotropic people cannot multitask, or that they cannot, focus on other things, or that they only focus on certain things. It's just on occasion this happens, right? But it's monotropism can help understand like meltdowns too, or shutdowns. Imagine being so deep into a mental groove working on a diamond painting and then being suddenly forced to switch gears with no warning or time to transition. And it's not just frustrating, it's really kind of distressing. But I don't want to make it sound like monotropism is a flaw, because I don't believe that it is. It's just a difference. And I feel like because it leads to really deep focus, I feel like it can lead to mastery of things. And, like, okay, for instance, I've been told often, not when I'm talking and WIP and chatting, but I've been told that I diamond paint really, really quickly. And I feel like that's true. I can get a diamond painting done in a short amount of time. And I feel like some of that is down to just mastery of being able to like know without actually counting how many diamonds I'm picking up. And I know that, oh, that's 5, or that's 3, or that's 7, or that's 9, or whatever. It leads to a mastery of being able to do it more quickly, because I get into a groove in the functioning of it. But the other thing is, monotropic minds often spot patterns that other people miss, and tend to see shortcuts that other people don't necessarily see, because we're not skimming, we're soaking in all the details, right? And a lot of artists and scientists and engineers, coders, creators, they thrive in like monotropic modes. when something aligns with our interest or our values, we go all the way in. Like, okay, I'm not one of these people, but you ever heard of somebody who can like sit down and write a novel in a month? It's learning a new language on their own just for fun. I call them weirdos. No, I'm just kidding. But like, just, I remember I knew a person that I worked with when I worked at the game store who had legitimately created an entire language. Like, one nobody had ever heard of before, with a whole like system and rules and dialect and everything. That's monotropism. And when monotropic people are supported, we're allowed to lean into our attention styles instead of fighting them. Like, that's when magic happens. I think that the problem is that unfortunately a lot of the systems in which we exist, like school and work, they're built for polytropic minds. Like, constant subject switching, multitasking, and group work. And for a monotropic person, that is exhausting and even sometimes hostile. Okay, I hate group projects. I would so much rather just work on my own and not have to worry about what everybody else is doing, because I can really hone in on the things that I want to hone in on. I can focus more clearly. I'm not constantly worried about the social interaction of all of it, because that's nerve-wracking. Oftentimes, you know, it's exhausting. But the best way, I feel like, to support a person who is monotropic, and maybe you're monotropic, and maybe you're learning something, that'd be pretty cool. Allow them time to do their deep dives, right? Give them time and space to pursue interests deeply without judgment. Or if somebody is lost in diamond painting, or diamond painting really quickly and they're moving really fast and they're in that tunnel, leave them be. Don't give them hard times about it. Don't judge. Give transition warnings to those people. Maybe one of your kids or a friend you're seeing, like, maybe this person's monotropic. Give them time warnings. Like, 5 more minutes isn't just a parenting trick. It's like a kindness to people who are monotropic. Be patient with people who are monotropic during task switching, because it can be hard to transition from one thing to the next. It takes time and energy to switch gears. Oops, dropping stuff. Giving people a more flexible environment at home or school or work, just space for the person to focus. And then stop punishing passion, okay? Just because somebody's deeply interested in niche topics or whatever, it doesn't mean that they're obsessed. It just means that they're alive when they're in that tunnel. I am alive when I'm in my tunnel of diamond painting. It sounds crazy, but it's really true. I think when I found diamond painting, it was just a beautiful way to be able to focus. I've done some of my best thinking and creating and just brain work while I'm diamond painting. I'm so thankful for it as a way to hone in, So because I want this to be more of a conversation and not just me talking at you, have you ever experienced monotropism yourself? Like, whether you're autistic or not, even if you're allistic, have you ever experienced monotropism in that way? And if you're autistic, how does monotropism show up in your daily life? Like I said, like for me, it's with diamond painting, definitely, but I hope that you learned something new, because when I discovered the word, I needed to do a little bit deeper dive on it, and now it has thrown some things into like sense making territory. I'm very, very, very happy about it, but I think the world might look a little different if it was designed with monotropism in mind for people. I think maybe there'd be a little less judgment on those special interests that I feel like people have sometimes, you know. Maybe they wouldn't be laughed at or looked at as something really silly or strange or whatever. I am very happy that I have the things that I do have, that I'm super interested in, that I can tunnel into, that bring me joy, because there are so many things in this world that steal joy from us. I'm glad to have something that I don't have to feel like, you know, the normal day-to-day kind of garbage way that a person can feel about themselves. You know what I mean? I'm very happy that there is a place and a thing that I can do that can kind of make that feeling go away. And it diamond painting definitely works for that. It definitely does for me. I don't know. Tell me, is that something that you feel about yourself? But anyways, stay kind to one another when it comes to these sorts of things, because, you know, I am 40 years old, and I am learning so many new things about myself every day, and I'm trying to be kinder to others, because you never know. You just never know. But let's get our thought for the week. Here is our tarot card. Like I said, I've already shuffled them. So I'm going to make sure there's no boobies. Nope, no boobies. Nope. There we go. Spirit Dancer. 36. Spirit Dancer. Let's find out what Spirit Dancer says. Our thought for the week. Now is the time to focus and really concentrate on a project or process, especially one involving the creative arts. Spontaneity balanced by self-discipline will help us achieve our goals. Strive for elegance and simplicity. This is a time to bring out and share qualities that we have nurtured in private. Interesting. It says, the cure to artist block is just to create, even if the creation falls far short of our goals, even if it is trite or trivial, just do it. It is a matter of priming the pump until the waters of creativity, emotion, and inspiration flow freely. Talking about being creative. Well, it didn't really tell me what I needed to know about school type stuff, but what it does tell me is that whatever I do decide to do, I need to probably stay in a creative mindset. So maybe not something that's super rigid, and I think that'll be the right way to go. It's a beautiful card though. But anyways, guys, that's all I got for you. I hope that you enjoyed the whip and chat. Thank you so much. Sorry again that it's late. You know, I don't do it on purpose, but I had to hang out with Dustin for his birthday because I kind of like him. I mean, I'll keep him around. It's been like 21 years now. Anyways, you guys, much love to you. I appreciate you hanging out. Hit the like button if you like things, and subscribe if you have not already done so. I will see you again really soon. Bye.